one document itself does a lot of, I don't know whether the word is due diligence to ensure that the rest of the things are also sorted. So to get a bill of lading in place, several other checks also get done, right? If you can get some integration between these, so perhaps that is one piece. The second one, you specifically speaking about getting a drug, that brings in a completely separate set of paperwork and several classifications, whether the drug is allowed to be brought into the country. So between two geographies, a drug movement within sometimes geography itself becomes a problem. How it getting transported. So getting a drug brings in all those complications as well. So to many of the panelists, all people who said about standardization, that's the way out. And getting blockchain. But I believe the biggest thing is if you can get many of these documents integrated, one document itself is doing all the checks before it is getting to the next stage. That is perhaps a way to solve these bottlenecks.
It's like, there is some time back we had this Save the Tiger campaign in India. So why did we say Save the Tiger? Because if you save the tiger, essentially you're saving the whole ecosystem. So kind of the analogy here, if you can get the bill of lading
sorted, taking call, maybe
that in itself. Yeah, Srikanth.
So again, I'm not
very interesting.
I don't have experience in the international trade or anything, but I'm very close to technology. I'm a big believer in technology, and technology already is there for these things to be solved. It's time for some youngsters to solve these problems, own the problems and solve it. And I feel governments will adopt to it eventually. Blockchain is a great opportunity out there. Unfortunately, it was sidelined because of the easy money that it has created in the form of crypto. But with world endorsing stable coins and things like XRP, which is already helping banks like JP Morgan transfer funds through their blockchain ecosystem. I think we are, very near to the solution where governments also start adopting. Our finance minister was also talking about stables very recently. So, which is an enabler, I feel, for the entire process, because blockchain is where you create trust. So documentation is once it's put on blockchain, the trust factor comes into picture. Digital IDs in the form of NFTs are already, the technology is available. The blockchain people have been talking about college certificates or everything being on blockchain, where you can get the trust. Trust. So trust factor can be solved with blockchain. I think it was for the governments to just adopt to this technology, and I know government take their own sweet time because they have their challenges in adopting to anything. Now, if it's 15 years old, AI is coming in. People are talking about AI agents, transacting. Correct. And how can an AI agent, log into the banks? How can they do the transaction? That's not the solution, is what people are talking about. People are talking blockchain has to be adopted, else AI will face these technical challenges. So I see with AI, with blockchain, all these technologies, I think the solution is very near, especially with governments looking towards getting the AI and blockchain adoption done sooner than later. Because I feel technology, governments have to adopt technology or they will lose the AI race today. True. So no one wants a Kodak moment happening for their country. So I feel, it's sooner or later we'll see these coming in, but it's for the youngsters to, own this technology and then try solve the problems. That's where the true change comes in.
So I think broadly something that I also saw was that what Raghav said was structure will drive behavior. So I think some of it was by regulation you're expecting and so on. But also, no, I was just alluding to this to somebody else earlier, is that one of my professors used to tell me that the solution to a problem will create a new problem. So in this case, you're talking about how this can potentially, so the technology adoption and the embracing, how much we embrace technology is what we think is a panacea. But I just want you to kind of think aloud or wonder aloud. Is there something that can that be creating something else which we are not known yet? Anybody can take this as in. Can like what he was saying with the unbridled start with without thinking of this, can it be an issue on the guardrails in terms of? Is lower, yeah, or at least not higher.
But my point was, yeah, it is relative, right? So, when you now you're sitting here, there is certain unknown. You come out with a solution, a technology solution, and then you move on, and that's when things move ahead. And at that time, I believe this particular problem is relative. It's not something that. So when you look at when you have these technologies or devices that connect to each other, there was a reason to connect them to each other. The moment you connect to each other, you have the problem of connected systems and creating problems, right? But that doesn't stop you from creating connected systems, right? So then because therefore, yes, there's always a realm or an area of unknown, and when it comes, you deal with it, and take a step forward. So that's the world we live in. I believe whether talk about cyber actors, or there is no way. I mean, every time I'm in the boardroom, I keep saying, okay, people ask me, okay, is all set? I mean, now you've done all the investment, is it all sorted? There is no nirvana in this case, right? There is no way you can reach that, and there is that perception itself is wrong. That stance or even the thought itself is wrong. So I believe, yes, there is going to be always this unknown. I would keep nibbling at it and keep solving it. That's what I believe.
That's true. But what I was alluding to was, unless that decision to embrace technology or the decision to kind of leapfrog into a new technology is a thought through systems thinking driven thing, it might be just possibly we are we are fast pacing our trouble, right, or something like that. So that was my question. And
Maybe I can take another stab at it. Maybe we'll go in a different direction, but the direction I wanted to take here was, in our introductory session, I also heard how you want to provoke thought on global students. I'll connect the two. When you have trust and trade increases, you're also leaving out those who are not on that trust. We are unfortunately facing a world where trade barriers are coming up. You have a few actors who now do not want world trade to grow and pilfer. So, any trust which needs to happen for global trade needs to have the buy-in of all actors, all nations in the world. If this does not include a large part of the globe, what this will lead to is, again, and as students, how I can connect it is language. We are all Indians, we've been educated in English, and I feel it leads us into a thought process. I took some time early in my career to go to China, learn the language, not to write poetry, but to engage with the average Chinese person. And that opens your mind, it opens your mind to ideas. And I feel trade, unless it is inclusive, this technology cannot make it exclusive. That now we are on this platform and now we will trade. I think that will be the loss of trade on the whole.
I think he's talking about degree of digital inclusivity. So if you take countries are not equally digital inclusive, and within a country, different traders are not equally digitally inclusive, and I may adapt a technology. What if my trade partners don't have enough awareness of the technology, right? So you might exclude a significant portion of these people who can be otherwise trade with you, may not be able to participate because you are more driven through technology and those are not. So maybe business should, before engaging partners for trade, they need to measure the degree of digital score or something, digital adoption score. And if you have a partner who have a poor digital adoption score, maybe he is not the right person to deal with you. So when you do this, what can happen is a lot of small scale business, MSMEs type business, might be left behind. And some of the countries who are not very active in adopting digital are the countries which will be left behind. And I think one challenge, what we spoke about, regulation, bringing in the usage of technology. So what happened? Technology always moves faster. Regulation is always behind, right? And the regulation catches up later. So actually, what happened? Some of the companies who adapt technology even before it is regulated will be very advanced, and but whereas the regulation will impose technology adoption for smaller firms later. That is the lag, I think, what we face.
Professor, just on that perspective, I in fact think completely the other way around. Digital is the best enabler for the smallest trader on the street and for the MSME segment. Because imagine if you are someone in a village of Kenya and you have to really sell something to Kazakhstan. Today, you can actually use a Facebook as a medium to actually make your good be seen somewhere in Kazakhstan. Somebody can pay you online, money which you can receive in your account. So maybe that villager in Kenya is actually facing trouble in actually developing his business in Kenya. But thanks to digital, he can actually reach the world the most easily, which may not have been the case beforehand. And that we can see, when you look at these social media commerce numbers, that kind of tells you.
So that's what we spoke. No, we said that adapting digital in B2C is much more easier than B2B.
But actually B2B as well. If you look at Alibaba, the whole genesis of Alibaba started with B2B. They kind of became the factory of the world, like from a China perspective. But then if you have to sell, iron ingots to someone in Sweden, that guy was not able to figure out even within China, where is the factory, what is the price, what's the volatility. But once that supply chain is established, that was great for companies like Alibaba. And that's where they actually grew big time B2B. And then they came into B2C as well, realizing that now that they have established their brand name through B2B, let's go to B2C as well.